Hey everybody, and welcome to our latest video Q&A. Today I'm talking to Matt Spencer of the US Poultry and Egg Association, and Matt is going to talk to us today about the association's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, how it's assisting its members, assisting the industry in general, and some of the insights that they've had and they've seen out in the industry, processors who are reacting well, doing the right things for their employees, and keeping the poultry supply chain moving as best as it can. Matt, thanks for joining me. I'm going to jump right in with the first question. Let's talk from the kind of 40,000 foot view a little bit in terms of US Poultry and COVID-19. What has the association done to help the industry with the outbreak from a higher level and overarching level in terms of assistance and everything like that?
Well, thanks, Andy. Yes, the association has been working closely with the industry for many years on a number of topics, but safety and health of workers is a key one. We have a very active safety and health council made up of safety professionals in the poultry industry. We closely partner with National Chicken Council, National Turkey Federation, membership base as well too. And we talk constantly on different topics that impact worker safety, and COVID-19 being no exception to that as well too. So once this pandemic started to occur, we reached out to our members to discuss the impacts that they were initially seeing from COVID-19. We've conducted numerous webinars, two very in-depth surveys. Those surveys included what travel restrictions and practices early on in this pandemic that the poultry industry was putting in place. And then we transitioned into what kind of business response plans were the industry putting in place as far as social distancing practices, looking at PPE usage and potential shortages that they were starting to experience at that time. And we've continued that with additional webinars with OSHA, with our members being able to ask questions directly to the agency, as well as CDC too. So we provide a lot of education. We also put up a detailed website landing page on the USPOULTRY.org website for COVID-19. We update it daily. So as any publications and stuff that impact the industry, most particularly, we try to get those out and post it for our members to access.
So other than the webinar and what you mentioned with CDC and OSHA in that answer, has there been any added work you've done with those regulators, those government bodies? Obviously, the association works all the time with regulators and government agencies on a variety of things, but have you really had to step up the partnership, if you will, with CDC and OSHA?
Yeah, so we've been in discussions with OSHA for the past several years, and actually in September of last year formed a national alliance with OSHA for improvement of workplace safety in the poultry industry. And as COVID-19 started to unfold, we obviously continued the alliance discussions on this topic as well too, and how could we better educate, and how could OSHA better educate the poultry industry during this event and get resources back and forth. So we've had numerous calls with the agency on impacts to the industry, questions about PPE and substitutions when masks were becoming hard to find. Working with CDC and USDA, getting approval for usage of respirators and practices to keep facilities running safely. So we've had numerous calls. We worked closely with them on the interim guidance that they put out this last Sunday as well too, to share what the poultry industry has done as far as social distancing. So a lot of the examples you see in that interim guidance were provided from the industry itself via public releases and stuff, and we shared that with the agency too, and they made a point to include those in that guidance.
Great. So, for years we've at least on the provisioner, we've always heard about and talked about automation across all of meat and poultry, and how really the poultry industry right now is is kind of leading the pack in terms of automation in the plants, and because of the size of the animal and the variances and everything. The other species are automating in their plants, but the poultry industry's been very invested in automating its plants for a while now. Do you think that's helped the plants to maybe not outright avoid COVID-19, but fight it off, if you will, and maybe not have the enormous outbreaks that seem to be hitting some of the other plants in the red meat industry?
Yeah, I think the addition of automation has definitely helped in areas where labor is a challenge. But there's still, a lot of areas where automation has not been created yet for certain job functions too. So, obviously a lot of our members have utilized automation or continue to utilize automation and stuff too, where it is feasible. That does help when there is shortages too, but there's more work that can be done in that area of design and engineering in the future and stuff too. Obviously during this pandemic, labor is a challenge, and I think all industries are definitely dealing with that now too. So, when it comes to order placement and order fulfillment, you have to manage that based on the labor that you have available, and making sure that you provide the social distancing practices as well as you can too. So definitely you could see the potential of an increase in the use of automation in the future and stuff too. But as other industries, there's still more work that can be done on that.
So, this sounds like a really vague question, but what are you hearing from your processor members about the threat of the virus in the plants? It seems like, obviously mainstream media isn't always the best number one top place to go for meat and poultry news out there. But obviously, the consumer marketplace is concerned about meat shortages and plants shutting down and things like that. But it seems, again, me being up here in Chicago, in Illinois, it's not necessarily the poultry hotbed that Georgia is, but it seems like most of the national headlines have been focused on the other species, beef and pork plants shutting down, not so much chicken or turkey plants. What are you hearing out there from the processors in terms of some of these nationwide consumer worries, concepts in terms of the threat of the virus shutting plants down, meat shortages, things like that? What's been the scoop there?
Well, obviously, here in the South too, we hear those media reports as well too. So obviously, communication is key with our members, with their workforce, as well as with the communities they're located in as well too, making sure that they share not only the practices they are putting in place to protect their workers, but also practices they're putting in place to protect the food that they're providing to not only their community, but the country as a whole too. Obviously, the importance of communicating with the workforce on social distancing practices while at work has been a huge push of the industry, but also putting that communication and sending it home too, making sure that family members and the community and churches and different social events too know the importance of social distancing too, because it doesn't just stop at the gate when coming in and out of work. It's important to take that home as well too. So the industry is doing a great job of communicating. More communication always can happen and stuff too. And obviously poultry facilities are not always as large as a pork or beef plant. So obviously smaller numbers allows easier dissemination communication with the workforce too. So it's definitely a plus too.
Great, Matt. I appreciate your time on this, and thanks so much. Thanks for everything U.S. Poultry is doing to keep folks safe out in the industry, and obviously keep us posted on any news and developments.
Thank you for having me.